History often teaches us about wars through battles and borders, but some of its darkest lessons were written in silence, behind barbed wire, under the cold logic of so-called science. This video takes you inside Auschwitz-Birkenau, a place remembered not only as a death camp, but as a warning about what happens when medicine abandons humanity. During World War II, doctors trained to heal became instruments of ideology. Under the banner of racial purity and military progress, human beings were stripped of names, dignity, and choice, reduced to data points. These were not rogue acts by mad individuals, but systematic programs approved by a regime that believed morality could be rewritten in a laboratory. What makes these experiments especially terrifying is not just what was done, but how easily it was justified. White coats, clipboards, official stamps. The language of science was used to silence conscience. This story forces us to confront an uncomfortable question. How thin is the line between progress and cruelty when ethics are removed? The legacy of Auschwitz does not end in the ruins of its buildings. It lives on in modern medical ethics, in international law, and in every rule that insists on informed consent and human rights. Many of today's protections exist because of these crimes, paid for with unimaginable suffering. This is not a story meant to shock for attention. It is a story meant to warn, because when society stops seeing people as human and starts seeing them as tools, history doesn't repeat itself loudly. It repeats itself quietly, in the name of progress. Watch carefully, remember deliberately, and never assume it couldn't happen again. Auschwitz, its very name evokes the darkest chapter of human history. Established by the Nazis in 1940 in occupied Poland, it was a sprawling complex of over 40 camps, with Auschwitz-Birkenau as the epicenter of the Holocaust. Here, over 1.1 million people, mostly Jews, but also Poles, Roma, Soviet POWs, and others, were systematically murdered or worked to death. Auschwitz was not just a prison, it was a factory of death, where extermination and exploitation were carried out with chilling efficiency. The camp's bureaucracy turned people into numbers, suffering into statistics, and medicine into a tool of torture. To understand Auschwitz is to confront the full scope of the crimes committed there, a place where cruelty was calculated, and even science was weaponized. For most arrivals at Auschwitz, the ramp was their first and last stop, a place of chaos, terror, and instant judgment. After days in cattle cars, prisoners faced SS doctors who decided their fate with a flick of the wrist, forced labor, or immediate death. The young and strong were sent to work. The elderly, sick, and children were sent to the gas chambers, deceived with promises of showers. These selections tore families apart in seconds, often without a chance to say goodbye. The doctors, detached and methodical, saw prisoners as raw material, not human beings. The ramp embodied the camp's logic. Life and death decided by a casual gesture. Human value erased in an instant. Among the SS doctors, none was more infamous than Dr. Josef Mengele, the so-called Angel of Death. His name has become synonymous with cruelty and inhumanity, echoing through history as a symbol of the horrors of the Holocaust. Arriving at Auschwitz in 1943, Mengele was a highly educated physician who used the camp as his personal laboratory, obsessed with genetics and twins. He saw the prisoners not as people, but as subjects for his gruesome research, pushing the boundaries of medical ethics far beyond the imaginable. He prowled the selection ramp, searching for twins to spare from the gas chambers, not out of mercy, but to subject them to his experiments. Children, especially twins, were separated from their families, often never to see them again, and led away to face unimaginable suffering. Mengele's research was driven by Nazi racial theory, turning scientific curiosity into a tool for torture. His experiments were often deadly, leaving survivors with lifelong scars, both physical and psychological. Survivors recall his chilling presence, a man who could offer a smile one moment, his demeanor cold and detached, as if he were simply performing routine work, and order a deadly procedure the next, showing no remorse or hesitation as he decided the fate of countless lives. After the war, Mengele escaped justice, living freely in South America under various aliases until his death in 1979, never answering for his crimes, despite international efforts to bring him to trial. His legacy is a haunting reminder of how knowledge, when twisted by ideology and unchecked power, can become monstrous, leaving scars on humanity that can never be erased. Block 10 in Auschwitz. I was the center of the Nazis' most horrific medical experiments, targeting women as human guinea pigs. Doctors like Karl Klauberg and Horst Schumann conducted brutal sterilization procedures, injecting caustic chemicals and using high-dose X-rays, often without anesthesia. These experiments aimed to develop cheap, efficient methods to eliminate entire populations' ability to reproduce. Prisoners endured excruciating pain, infections, and permanent injuries, stripped of all bodily autonomy. Block 10 was a world of terror and isolation, where science was perverted into an instrument of suffering. The wooden operating slab preserved in the Auschwitz Museum stands as a silent witness to these crimes. Here, the Hippocratic Oath was replaced by a mandate to inflict pain in service of a murderous ideology. The medical experiments at Auschwitz were systematic, not random, driven by Nazi ideology and a quest for racial purity. Mengele's twin studies involved blood transfusions, disease injections, and autopsies performed on murdered children, all to compare genetic traits. Of 1,500 twin pairs, only a few hundred survived. Sterilization experiments by Schumann and others used X-rays and surgery, leaving victims with burns, infections, and psychological trauma. Other prisoners were subjected to starvation, disease, freezing, and untested drugs, often just to satisfy sadistic curiosity. These acts had no scientific value. They were about power, cruelty, and the total dehumanization of victims. The legacy of these experiments is a permanent stain on the history of medicine. Amid the unimaginable horror of Auschwitz, small acts of resistance shone through the darkness, moments of bravery that defied the cruelty surrounding them. One such story is that of Erno Spiegel, a Hungarian Jewish twin who was just a boy when he was imprisoned in the camp. Forced by the infamous Dr. Mengele to care for other boys in the twin barracks, Spiegel risked his life every day to help those around him, sharing his meager food rations, encouraging the use of real names to preserve their identities, and secretly teaching lessons to keep hope alive among the children. Most daringly, he falsified official records, risking immediate execution if discovered, to save non-twin children from the gas chambers, inventing siblings and forging documents so that these children would be counted as twins and spared from death. Each child he managed to save was a quiet, defiant victory against the Nazi system, a small light in a world of darkness. Spiegel survived the war, and after liberation, he built a new life in Israel, joining countless other survivors in the search for hope and renewal. For decades, Spiegel rarely spoke of his ordeal, carrying the weight of memory in silence. His remarkable story, now told in the 2024 documentary The Last Twins, stands as a testament to courage, compassion, and the enduring power of humanity in the face of evil. Even in Auschwitz, the human spirit could resist, and sometimes even triumph. Liberation did not end the suffering for survivors of Auschwitz's medical experiments. For many, freedom brought new challenges, physical, emotional, and spiritual. The trauma of what they endured lingered long after the gates were opened. Many lived with chronic pain, disabilities, and psychological scars, haunted by memories, loss, and betrayal by those sworn to heal. The numbers tattooed on their arms became lifelong reminders of the horrors they survived and the world they lost. Their testimonies are vital, giving voice to the millions silenced and ensuring the world cannot forget. By sharing their stories, survivors have educated generations about the dangers of hatred, prejudice, and unchecked power. Some, like Eva Moses Kaur, found healing in forgiveness. Her journey became a symbol of hope and the possibility of reclaiming one's humanity, even after unimaginable suffering. Others turned their pain into a force for good, as with Erno Spiegel's daughter, who founded a medical company focused on ethics. Their actions inspire a commitment to compassion and responsibility in medicine and beyond. The legacy of these survivors is a living warning, a reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink and the need to fight hatred in all its forms. Their courage compels us to confront injustice wherever it appears. Their scars, visible and invisible, are a call to remember and to act. Each survivor's journey is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the enduring power of memory. The story of Auschwitz's survivors is not just about suffering, but about resilience and the reclamation of dignity. Their lives urge us to honor their legacy by building a world rooted in empathy, justice, and hope. Today, Auschwitz stands as a memorial and museum, a place where the evidence of atrocity is preserved for all to see. The ruins of gas chambers, piles of shoes, suitcases, and even human hair make the scale of loss tangible. Artifacts transform statistics into individual stories, each item a life cut short. Survivor art, like Marion Kawojie's haunting drawings, and countless memoirs keep the human experience alive. Preserving these memories is a sacred duty, teaching new generations about the consequences of hatred and the importance of ethical vigilance. Auschwitz's artifacts and stories are not just relics, they are warnings for the future. Remembering Auschwitz's medical crimes is not about dwelling on the past, it's about safeguarding the future. The Nazi doctors were not monsters, but educated professionals who let ideology override ethics, a chilling warning for all societies. The Nuremberg Code, born from these horrors, established the principle of informed consent in medicine. Every consent form signed today is a legacy of those who suffered at Auschwitz. As the last survivors pass, it is up to us to carry their stories forward, to educate and to resist the rise of hatred and denial. The Holocaust began not with gas chambers, but with words and indifference. By remembering, we reaffirm that every life has value, and that we must never let science or politics become an excuse for cruelty.